Hi, I'm Cinnamon Cooney, the Art Sherpa, and a couple of days ago, my favorite coffee place came out with a unicorn Frappuccino. It sold out in about a minute, and I thought, how could we just have this forever? Boom, painting. So I want to show you step by step how you can paint this calorie-free, amazing unicorn Frappuccino for your wall that you can get all year. Supply is not limited. Get your paint, get your brushes, come back and meet me at Easel right now. It's time to have a unicorn Frappuccino. So let's look at the materials that we're going to be using today for this fun project. I have a 9x12 canvas board. It is pre-gessoed, ready to paint. You don't need to do another thing. I also have a yummy unicorn Frappuccino from Starbucks. I want to thank Humble Starbucks and my barista, Rodney, for making me a really delicious drink. Let's taste it. Sippy sippy. All right, so over here, the colors to make the unicorn Frappuccino is Cad Yellow Medium, Quinacridone Magenta, Ultramarine Blue, Phthalo Green, and Titanium White. I also have some glitter for at the end, a little fluid white paint for getting my unicorn in, some dauber sponges, but I'm going to show you a way you can do it with just a brush if you can't get pouncing sponges, and of course, brushes for acrylic painting. So I have this is actually number 26 bright, but really what you're looking for is a brush that's about 1 inch wide to 2 inches wide to do the background. With synthetic fibers, these are really good, but what you're looking for is synthetic fibers so it doesn't pull in too much water. I'm going to take a smidge, a scotch, a dash of Unicorn Magic Yellow over to my white, and I'm going to add another little smidge. Oh, this is a very, very, very heady mix. A little more yellow. I just want some warmth in this, and I'm going to start the focal point for behind my wonderful, wonderful, tasty drink that I'm probably going to be really jazzed from all the sugar and enjoyment, because there's love in those drinks. Don't kid yourself. There's love. All right, so I'm making this round stroke. See how I'm going around? I'm brushing around, and it kind of directionality goes round. This is going to help me create this focal drama. I'm going to take a little of my yellow over to my quinacridone. See how that creates kind of a fun peachy orange? Add a little white. If you need to add water, you can just dip the tip of your brush in. You don't want to really soak it though, because if you get too much water on your brush, it can really get away from you. And continue to go around your fun focal area. This is a really fun background to do. It's one of my favorite backgrounds to do. So I've got that going in. Look at that. Blending between the two areas of wet paint. You can always go back and get a little more yellow and a little more white. By the way, come here and then you come kind of down like there's a little cast of light. It's a little fun thing that you can do. Pull out more of your pink. Right? I've got just this dusting of that on the edge of my brush. I haven't rinsed it off. I'm going to dip the brush in a little bit of water and continue to paint this magical background on my canvas. I have a canvas board behind there to support me because my easel is very big for this size canvas, for 9x12 canvas. So, and if I put its holders down, then you can't see the painting. So I'm just still on the flat of the brush, curving the stroke, going around. Don't get stressed about any of this part of it though, guys, because this is just art. And especially this is fun art. So this is about you having something that you're going to adore putting on your wall that also brings a lot of joy to your heart. I'm going to rinse out my brush, drag off the extra water. Sometimes it helps to press my brush against the bottom to pull out the paint. If you need to, wipe off your brush and then re-dip. I'm going to pull out a little of my quinacridone magenta here over to my ultramarine blue. And I'm going to keep doing that till I get a nice purple. When I get a purple that I think is really pretty and unicorny, I'm going to add a little white to it. And right here, I'm going to start blending the peach part of my sky down into what will be the cool, mystical, amethyst blue part of my sky. So notice how I'm letting it be very streaky too. That actually is me just letting this all work in my favor. I like to let paintings do most of the work for me. I'm going to pull out a lot of blue. See, I'm loading it on both sides. I'm going pull, pull, pull from the edge here, pulling. Grab a little white because you want it to be distinctly blue. And blend these two areas. So you have this magical, clearly unicorn-based ombre happening here. Yeah, it's special. I'm really liking this. I'm hoping you're having fun too. So I like things, magical, fun things like specialty drinks. I would have had everything in the universe be unicorn when I was young. Would still probably have everything in the universe be young. Be right now. I would just always do unicorn things. All right. So I'm just brushing this back and forth. You relax and don't stress. All you're looking for is a nice blend. You can go ahead and rinse your brush out and then dry your canvas. Now there are two ways to get kind of these magic bubbles or dots. One is with the pouncing sponges and one is twirling your brush. Let me show you the twirl brush technique first. I'm going to take this brush here. It is a number 8 bright. You can always find the number on a brush and the type of brush it is. So that means these aren't too long. I'm going to come and get the bristles a little bit wet. Put a little of the pink just on the edge of my brush here. Come grab a little of my yellow and some white. See, just load the brush up. So I'm going to take the brush, I'm going to plant it right here. Remember that you've got your Frappuccino Unicorn Frappuccino by the unicorns right here in the center of your canvas. And so you don't have to worry about getting it too much here. I'm going to come here and I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to twirl. See, and then if I have to, I'll come back and twirl the other side and I can create bokeh style dots, no problem. Just twirling my brush. I can come get a little more magenta if I want and come next to it and even layer them like you're going to see me doing with the sponges. So this is possible to do with the tools that you have if that's what you have going on. Or rinse that out. But I'm going to do it with my bokeh sponges because I really enjoy those. I'm going to take my first bokeh sponge. This bokeh sponge is a little over 1 inch across and I really enjoy the firmness of the foam. And I'm going to dab right into my white paint there, which already had some purple in it. And I'm going to grab a little of my blue and even a little of my magenta. And see how I'm pressing into the palette paper and twirling. But it looks like that on there. And remembering that I've got my cup here in the center, but I do want them to layer behind the cup. I'm still going to put them around, even if I think a cup's going to be over it. Let's get a little more blue and maybe a little more magenta so we can get purplier bokehs. Right here. And remember, you can layer these over each other. How objects layer in a canvas really helps it. So if a little is peeking out, that's good. And also, when it gets dry, it's nice. Your trick is I'm not dabbing, I'm pressing in and I'm twisting. See, so I'm pressing in and twisting, and that's what's leaving the paint. Maybe one right here, pressing in and twisting. And I just want to have a nice collection of that around. I don't worry about taking those all the way to the edge. And if you have one you don't love, you can always go back and definitely put it in. Now, really rinse out your sponges right away because the acrylic drawing on the sponge ruins it. And I'm going to dab the yellow, right? Twirl, twirl, press and twirl. Over here to the red, twirl, twirl, press and twirl. And maybe grab a little white. See what that does there? And let's start coming and putting around some different bokeh sparkles. This is magical sparkles. You can pull in more white if you want some lighter ones. Oh, these are lighter bokehs. Feel like you can mix it up. I'm not going to take them all the way to the bottom heavily, just like a little bit. So like press one in there, maybe one right here. so the fields sort of merge. You know, maybe this one I'm going to get a little more pink, some more white, twirl, twirl, pressing it in. Fun to do. Really heavily in the white. And I let some of them be light, press, twirl, and some of them be darker. And I have them where they're going to be a little bit behind the Starbucks cup. So definitely make sure those get rinsed out and don't dry on the brush. Let's dry our canvas again. And I'm going to grab a chalk pencil, or if you have it, you could use just like chalkboard chalk, kids chalk. Either one is fine. And I'm going to kind of mark in the space that my Starbucks cup, my unicorn Frappuccino, is going to take up. So I'm going to mark out about 4 3/4 inches down from the top, right there. And then I just want to know where that is. I'm going to paint this in so you can really see it. And I'm going to mark from the bottom about 1.5 inches. And I know that's the space, the body of my cup. And I know the sides are going to be about, oh gosh, I think they're going to be about 2.5 on each side for the width of the cup. And this just lets me think about how much space I'm taking up, because I'm going to put this in, I'm going to sketch this in with paint. So you can really see it with white paint. You do this in kids chalk so you can change your mind, or chalk, because if you do it in chalk, you can just either erase it with your fingers or a slightly damp cloth. So I'm going to get my brush wet. This is a number 4 bright. I'm going to put a little paint on there, and very lightly I'm going to sketch in with paint, because I am a crazy person, a slight smiley face that's going to go at least from here to here that I marked in my lines with to know the width of my cup. And hopefully you can see my white paint here enough if you're trying to just paint along with me. So a little smile, and at the bottom, right, I'm going to want another little smile. It's the bottom of the cup. This smile is smaller. This smile is only going to be about, let me use the side of the ruler that tells me actual measurements, about 3 inches, right? And then you're going to be joining the sides of your cup. Take a little diagonal line down. And that's how you get the shape in. It's 2 smiles connected up. So there you go. And again, you can totally do yours, you know, with that. Now I'm going to want to add the circle in the center where my unicorn logo is going to go. You can put any logo you want. You can put something that was meaningful to you. I just thought the unicorn was really funny on this cup. I'm going to use a jar of glitter. That's about 2 3/4 wide at the bottom, and place it in the center of the cup. I'm going to leave, you know, a couple fingers from the top and a finger on either side. I'm going to use my chalk pencil, and the reason I'm not just going to paint the whole cup in the dark raspberry pink and then this is because you at home might be using different paint than me. I use a paint that really covers super well, but your paint might be a little more transparent. And I want you to have a really successful Starbucks cup. So I like to think about those things that you might have going on in your studio. So to get my green dot in the center, it's really interesting. I'm going to take a little of my ultramarine blue to my phthalo green, right? And that's pretty dark, 1:1. And then I'm going to add a smidge, not a lot, a smidge of the yellow. And just paint this in. Now, if your paint even has trouble over the light pink background, you may want to do 2 coats. I probably, even so, will still do a couple coats just because it will look nice. We'll see how it goes. This is also going to be the color of my straw coming out of the foam. I'll show you a fun way to do foam in a minute. Rinse this out super well. Super, super, super well. Now, you can use this exact same brush or a slightly bigger one. This is a number 6. Because I'm teaching this and I needed to go this a little faster, I'm going to move up to a number 6 bright, but you use whatever you have. I'm going to get my brush wet, take off the extra water, pull out the quinacridone, and add just a smidge of white to it. Not a lot, right? Because I want it to be kind of a raspberry pink color. I'm just going to paint in very carefully inside my lines. I'm going to come back with white paint to sketch in kind of some of the details and reflections of the cup later. Just paint this dark color all around inside those lines. Don't get your cup too light, but I did look at a ton of pictures of unicorn food, and it seems like the rules allow for a lot of ranges of pink, so don't get stressed on it. Just paint that all in. This really pretty raspberry color. I'm going to go around my green carefully. I don't want to get my pink into my green because it's going to make my pink less bright and less magical looking. And you'll notice that I paint on the flat to fill in the cup and then paint on the edge like this, pulling down when I want to get a nice sharp edge. Yeah. I just dipped in water. I'm pulling out a little more pink, getting a little more white and pink, and just filling it all in. You know, and be creative with the center of your dot. You know, like I was excited about the unicorn, but you could put initials in there. You could put logos in there, you know, school, anything in there. So realize that you can really make this personal and special to you. Just keeping it quite dark and raspberry. Finishing that up. Going on my edge where I need a nice crisp line. Again, this is a number 6 bright, but you could be using a 4. I wouldn't go as big as an 8 because I think this would be a tight space. Now that I've got that painted in and that looks good, I don't even have to rinse my brush out and pull out a little more red and grab a little of my ultramarine blue, and I'm going to make a dark purple. See my purple here? And I'm going to make sure that I add a shadow under my cup. So I'm going to come right under my cup. Right under my cup. And just feather out. This is very light, so I go on the edge of my brush, and then I kind of take it to the flat, and I lighten my brush pressure. And I'm kind of implying that there's a smidge of a shadow under this cup. And that helps it feel a little more real. And then I'm going to come into my white and make kind of a really pretty periwinkle almost purple. And I'm going to do my cream. And how I do my cream is I come to the top of my cup, almost like calligraphy. I take a brush stroke over, I swoop over, and then I swoop in. And I swoop over, and then I swoop in. See that? And I'm going to just paint that in a little bit. I'm not even going to paint out all of the background. Look at that. Look at how I let the background peek through. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Now, as I'm going up, the swoops are going to get a little smaller. All right. I'm going to come up here. I don't think I'm as... All right, see how I'm making that little swoop there? And then you can tuck another little one here. There's going to be white put on top of that, but the swoops are really going to help you make that feel like what it is. And so for the top bit, I'm going to come up, swoop over, and curl. And that would be the top of it. Isn't that fun? That's all you got to worry about. Rinse that out because we're going to be going over that with white. Fun, fun, fun stuff. And while all this is having a little bit of a dry, I can come back to my Starbucks green color that I have, right, which is the blue, the green, and a smidge of my yellow, right? And I'm going to come up here and I'm going to make my straw. And I want my straw to come up to about here. So you can pre-sketch it in if you're nervous about it. I'm just going to tap out my little straw on the edge of my brush. And then I'm just going to pull about a 1/4 of an inch stroke to the right. And I'm going to tap out the edge of my brush. Now I get to do this because my brush is very sharp and gives me a lot of control. And so I can get away with that. Now I'm going to come get some yellow, just right on my brush. So it's a slightly brighter green. And even while this is still wet, I'm going to make a tiny little stroke in the center that kind of gives it a highlight. I think it gives it a little bit of shape. Rinse this out because it's not going to be nice with the pink or the white. And this is a fantastic time, if you have not gotten it, to get some water. While you're getting that, I'm going to keep enjoying my drink. So now's a good time to sort of lay in the structure of a cup. I'm going to get a little of my white paint on the edge of my brush. This is a number 6 bright. I could be using a number 4 here. That would be fine too. And I'm going to paint at the top here a lid top where it's a little more rolled. So it can go a little bit past my painting. Then I'm going to enforce that line coming down the side, which I might have lost. Make a little smile line at the bottom. So see, I'm just enforcing these white lines. And then I'm going to, coming up about under a 1/2 inch, make another little following smile line. And I'm going to come right underneath this and real close to it, like an 1/8 inch, like just a hair away, follow along. You can now get some pink and some white and make a slightly brighter pink that you dry brush. Dry brush means there's not a lot of water in your brush and your brush pressure is really light. So you're just like dusting this with just this slight pink right here. That's all that's going to take, and you're just like, that kind of gives you that cup feel while keeping it really, 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 really pink. You don't want to paint out all your dark raspberry color underneath though. And you can even grab just a little, just dry brush that there, right there, just softly. It's just a little highlight. Just a little, come here between these two, another little highlight. See, isn't that nice? Starts to pull that cup together, doesn't it? Just putting that in. Now I'm going to take my white, just my white. Just make sure I've got everything thought out. Nice and pretty how I like it. I'm going to sketch in my unicorn with my chalk pencil. You can transfer anything that you like on here. I really just like the unicorn. So I'm going to draw him in. I have a lot of lessons on how to draw unicorns. But basically I'm going to come down a little nose, do a curve in, little lip out, chin, jaw, because he's got to have a jaw. Neck coming off the cup here. And then I really liked, I felt like if unicorns had a Starbucks place, if they had invented Starbucks, that they probably would have swooped their neck down like this. I'm going to give myself a little horn here at the front. So you want to be just a little bit in front of the jaw right here. Pull a line straight out and slender back in. And the ear is going to come up at the top here, but it's going to be a tiny little sliver. Now, I'm going to paint him in white, and then I'm going to add some of the green lines and details in. To make my job easier painting him in, I'm going to put out some fluid paint. This is the same body as like those craft bottles of paint, except this is professional quality, has beautiful pigment. But you can also just use the white paint that you have out. That would be okay. And I'm going to get a small brush. This is a teeny tiny brush. This is a number 2 bright. I'm going to load this brush. And what I like about this for doing the logo is that even though it's very fluid, in other words thin, it just flows off my brush, it has so much pigment in it, so I don't really have to work that hard. If you're doing some other kind of white, you just might have to do a couple coats, and don't worry about that. That's okay. And just paint all what I drew in here in white. I really like to see how people customize their pieces and make them personal. Put in what's really meaningful to them. So that'll be exciting for me to see how you guys change these up and make them your own. So I'm just putting that in, load up the edge of my brush here. I'm going to get a nice little thin horn. So the edge of my brush really actually does a fine line, but I could also do this with the detail round. And I'm going to just curve up a little slender ear that I've got there. And then coming off the front, I'm going to wave 2 stripes for a mane. Once that's in like that, I'm going to dry that real fast so I can put in the green details. Okay, I'm gonna put the green details in. It's really probably good to get a small teeny tiny detail brush if you have it at this point, or just let it be, because this is definitely a tool-centric activity. So I'm gonna get a small brush. Look at this small round brush, it's pretty small. I'm gonna get my brush wet and I'm gonna get some of my blue and green. If I don't have any more of my initial color that I did for the logo, get some yellow if you need it. I'm going to make some up, and you'll notice that I'm rolling. That pulls the paint out of my brush, moving it towards the tip so I can reload it. If I need to improve flow, I just dip in the water and go around like that. So that's all I have to do to thin out my heavy body paint. I'm going to make a little circle here for nose. Kind of outline the chin. I'm going to add a little chin outline here. Right under the horn, I'm going to put in a little curve line. A little curve line. This reminds me of the greater less than. That's how I get a simple ear in. And then I'm going to add sort of these green swirls. They're like a wavy line coming down, and that's like the mane. I like this a lot. We are nearly done, guys. We literally just have the glitter part left, which is super exciting. That's like the funnest part, right? Are you kind of impressed with what you've done? I hope so. I hope you're like, man, I'm kind of awesome making this adorable Starbucksy looking cup with the unicorn on it. Let's get our bright back out. We want to have it be very clean. I'm going to wipe it off. And as long as I've got clean white paint I can dip into like this, I'm going to come here and I'm going to do the right hand side first and then the left hand side, because I'm doing 2 colors of glitter and the paint needs to be wet for me to stick the glitter to it. So I'm coming right there. And I don't want to take away all my purple, because the purple is kind of some of the shadow and shape of the cream that's on top of the cup. All right. I'm going to come a little bit to the top there, but mostly I'm worried about this side of it. Just putting this on real thick, because while it's still wet, before it dries, I'm going to grab some of this. This is Petal Pink glitter. Any pink that you have will do. And I'm going to just put this flat, sprinkle some little glitters down on it. This is going to be everywhere in my studio for like about a week or forever. I'm going to tap the canvas. I just shook it off. Don't do that in somebody else's house or in your mom's house. They want to appreciate the gorgeousness that is glitter. Anywhere that your paint is wet, your glitter is going to stick. So you've got to make sure that your canvas is dry before you glitter. I'm going to rinse this out again. And I'm going to go the other side. I might have to put out a little white paint. I've got that soft body paint, but I'm going to put out this kind of paint so it's the same on both sides. You don't have to do that. You do what you like. I'm surprised there isn't already glitter in the drink. All right, so I'm going to come up the top here. Here we go. I want to make sure that I have 2 tones of glitter. I'm just painting the top of the purple so that there's kind of like this shape, this highlight. I'm going to get my blue out. This blue is called non-toxic. What is this called? It just says glitter. It doesn't tell me. I think this is kind of a turquoisey iridescent blue. I think you just really want the 2 colors, the pink and the sort of blue. Ooh, I am going to make sure that I put in my lovely blue flavoring stripe before I forget. I'm going to take this number 6 Bright and real quick add a special blue magical flavoring stripe. So I've got some blue paint here and I've got some white paint. I'll just use these 2. It really doesn't matter. I just want blue and white. My blue and white. I don't want it to be too dark. I want it to be pastel because that's what unicorns like. So I want to have a nice pastel color. I'm going to make an up and down swirly flavoring stripe. So I'm going to come over here to the side on the edge and swirl up. And where my green dot is, my swirl is going to vanish. See how it vanishes there? And then I'm going to grab a little more. And maybe I'm going to have it go up here. And it can swirl way down. Like that. And finish off this edge. Because it's the inside swirling, right? So this is the drizzle. It gives the drink its kick. Just any swirl you want though. You can make it your own. I'm going to add a little more blue to the side here. And that is the soury sauce. A little bit right there. There it goes, drizzling off the edge. So much sour drizzle. That nice? You just have to decide, do you like it? Make up your own mind. All right. What a crazy thing we did. You ready to sign it? So that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed painting that with you. I hope you had a good time. I hope you really love what you made. Can you believe how cute this unicorn Frappuccino is? What a great idea. I can't wait to see what's next. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. If you had fun doing this fun lesson, be sure and hit that subscribe button, comment below, and tell me what other kinds of things you'd like to paint. And I want to see you at the easel really soon.